probably see if I can pull mine up on the thing here. Let's see what we got here. Rulers. What are the chances I can find this quickly? Anybody think I can? You have to believe me.
I
here.
believe in you.
What do you think it's called? If I were. Oh, look at how fast that was. Little ruler die. Your ruler should look a lot like this ruler, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Got it. We'll take a little snippet of it. And we'll put that little snippet in here. Everybody will be happy with it.
Whoa.
It's a little big, mind you. Oh, my ruler was a little small enough to the side there. So here's my ruler. And the reason this comes up under mixed numbers is your ruler is nothing more than mixed numbers. Mixed numbers. Okay, and the thing you have to understand with your rulers is, some things we already know about rulers, is that every inch is cut into how many, for this ruler, you could cut it into smaller or you could not cut it into small, but between the 0-inch mark and the 1-inch mark, how many spaces will there be? Somebody out there. Connor, what's your thought? How many spaces are there? Right here. Let me pop that bad boy things I can get. How many spaces will there be between here and here? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ethan?
16.
Right. This cuts every inch into 16. Now you could cut it into 32, you could cut 64, but things get really small there. So the deal with this is this. So every space you count is a 16. So if you went to right here on your ruler, it is 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4/16. That is the 5/16 mark. And the thing that makes rulers difficult is if I go to this mark here, children, and I count the 16ths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's 8/16, and you put 8/16 on your paper, I'm going to mark it wrong, because when we talk about fractions and rulers and measuring, you have to use the easiest way to say it. And as you know, the easiest way to close there is,
1/2.
yeah, it's 1/2 of an inch. And that's what makes using our rulers so much more difficult than the metric system, because the metric system you just use decimals and it's a piece of cake. Okay? And the nice thing about the ruler, this at least helps you a little bit in the sense that you can tell that all, see how these lines, some of them go higher or lower than each other? That is just to help you so you don't have to count each space, you automatically know. You know, this one is the 1/2 inch mark, so they make it really big. So rather than you counting over 8, you automatically know this is 8. So you could, you know, if your line went to this one here, you could automatically start here with 8/16, and this one would be 9/16. So you don't have to start all the way to the beginning and count. This mark right here is the what mark? Ethan?
Quarter mark.
Yeah, but which quarter is it? Because here's 1/4, 2/4.
Fourth, third one.
That's the 3rd quarter mark. So this is actually 3/4. How many 16ths is 3/4? You can count it out. Here's 8/16, 9/16, 10/16, 11/16.
12.
3/4 is the same as 12/16, but nobody will ever say 12/16 because we accept that. If you get past the inch mark, and let's say you go to here, then you just have the whole number. You have 1 whole inch, and then what would that one be? Again, if you counted 16ths, it's 4/16, but 4/16 is not acceptable because Sam, 4/16 is a quarter. So I think that you probably kind of have that in your bank there. And you know, after you get used to using it, it's okay, but it's still not. I mean, why in the world has our country not gone to this? I mean, you get to this mark right here, you don't have to think anything about it. It's 21 millimeters. How hard is that? There's no reducing, no fractions, no nothing. How many centimeters is it? 2.1. This is so much easier. It's so much more accurate, it's so much more everything. Why? Good point. Can you sense my frustration there? Now, but that's a ruler. What if it's just a normal line like this? What if you see this? Let's say this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and then I have this. And I say, name this point right here. What mixed number does that stand for? What mixed number is that? And again, I have to caution you, where most people go wrong is they count the hash marks and the tick marks and not the spaces. Your first goal, object, the first thing you need to do is figure out how many equal spaces did they cut every unit into. And it's not, don't count the hash marks, because you might get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that is not right. This is not cut into 6 pieces, it's cut into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your fraction is going to have a 5 on the bottom, because that's how many pieces it is. This point right here is, Ephraim? But it's one whole thing. You have to put the 1 in there, and 2/5 of the next one. 1 and 2/5. Are you with me on that? Most people go wrong because they count those sort of things here. Look at page 90, please. There's not a whole lot to talk about on this. Look at page 90 and let's talk about a couple of the, for example, problems there. Look at practice letter A. Are you with me? It gives you this. It says you have 1/16, 1/8, 3/16, 1/4, 5/16. Is that where it stops?
No.
3/8,
7/16.
7/16, 9/16.
5/8.
Now, does it give you 5/8?
No.
No. And it says to continue on how many more? To 1.5 inches. So after 9/16, it should be 10/16, but 10/16 is the same as Charlie said 5/8. And then you have 11/16. You can't reduce 11/16. Then you have 12/16, but we said 12/16 is the same as 3/4. Then you have 13/16. And then you have 14/16, but we can't say 14/16 because it's the same as, cut them both in half. 14/16 is what? 7/8. And then you have 15/16, which you can't reduce. And then you have 16/16, which is 1. And then you'd keep going 1 and 1/16, 1 and 1/8. Back when I was a kid, and if I was helping my dad work on the car or whatever, the wrenches were actually in, these sizes, and he'd pull out a 5/8, and you'd say, well, this one's too small. Go get me the next size bigger. Do you know what size is the next size bigger than 5/8? Now you have to go to 5/8. It would be 11/16. So you'd have to know something about fractions. Whereas now everything's in the metric system, and he's there with a 12-inch or 12-millimeter wrench. He says, get the next size bigger than 12 millimeter. It would be 13 millimeter. There's no thought. It's all fun and exciting. It's always fun until somebody gets hurt. Now, the question I had is, look at letter D. Point A, what does point A represent there? What is the mixed number, Ronnie Johnson, for point A? Problem letter D.
1.5.
It is not 1.5. We're not. The only way you can ever use a decimal is if something's cut into tens, and that's not cut into tens. We're not using decimals. We're doing mixed numbers. I agree. 1 is the there, but what fraction? Huh?
1/5.
That letter A is only 1/5 of the way over. How many spaces from the number 1 till you get to that dot?
5.
5. How many equal spaces is it cut into?
6.
So what's the fraction?
5, 6.
There you go, 1 and 5, 6. Take out your ruler, measure letter E, please. Measure letter E, please. And again, I will give you plus or minus a 16th. Make sure that you are, please make sure when you measure that line, boys and girls and kids of all ages, make sure you get the edge right at the beginning of the line. There might be a little bit of paper sticking out. Don't line up the paper, but line up the edge of where your ruler starts. 12 there. What did we come up with? Kate says,
9/16 of an inch.
unless my book is way off. Somebody? Ethan?
13/16.
That's what my book has, 13/16. If you put 14/16, which is 7/8, or if you put 12/16, which is 3/4, I would probably give you
The
both
half.
of those.
The half. And it was 13.
How about letter F? Somebody measure up letter F for me, please. Letter F, letter F, letter F, F, F. Somebody got letter F there? Brendan Massey?
2 and a 4.
2 1/4 I have, yep. 2 1/4. How about letter G? Letter G. Charlie. How many whole inches first? Start with the whole number.
3.
3 and what fraction?
Three and 3/4.
Does it go? It goes 3 to right here, right? These are each 16th in mark, so it should be 3 and
2/16.
3/16 I have. If it's 2/16, you'd have to put 1/8, by the way. You can't put 2/16 down. That is in, on, and whatever acceptable. Very well done. All right.